Hey everyone, so now that I'm back from Fraser, so I thought I'd do a bit of a follow-up video of my WeGo and let people know my thoughts over those first few, after doing a first decent trip in it, as well as cover off some of the 12 volt stuff. So to start with, where did I go? Went to Fraser Island, took the WeGo with me for a week and a bit, and she performed brilliantly. Honestly, do not regret grabbing her. A little bit worse for wear since there's a handful of scratches all over her because went down some tracks that were thinner than the car or the trailer could go down, so definitely made for an interesting time, but what's the point of getting it if you don't? We had probably 5 days of rain at the beginning of the trip and then a few days of sun, so it was really nice having the interior and the spots to use. As I said, overall pretty happy with it. I had a few small things that I wasn't as happy about, so now I spent a few days with it, or weeks with it at this point. One of the few things that I was keen on, this compartment up here, all good quality, all of that's fine, but it just seems a very wasted compartment. I really want to figure out a better way of storing it. I'm actually debating taking this whole slide out and just using it as a normal storage compartment and potentially doing the same with the one around the other side because it just doesn't seem the most practical. To answer some of the questions people have said, awning with the height that it can be at, honestly, didn't have, even with all the rain we had, didn't have too many issues. There is a small gap when the awning's wrapped around here where rain can kind of come through right up against the roof here, but I personally didn't have a problem with it and think it was pretty reasonable the whole time and pretty happy with it. Performed well, really strong, considering how windy it was on the island, including on beach camping. I've done a few upgrades to her. She's still a mess because I haven't unpacked everything, but adding in some of these fusion lock holders are really good for it. As I said in my previous video, only damage I've really got other than the scratches now all over her is this broken little handle here. But overall, she performed brilliantly, towed pretty well. Definitely can be a little bit heavy at the rear, so when the rear tank's full, the rear can be a little bit slippy all over the road, which isn't ideal, but you get used to it. Just make sure all your weight's at the front. So stepping inside, I've got her open at the moment because I was actually in the process of planning to do a bit of a 12 volt upgrade, hence thinking I might cover off this video. So inside, again, happy. Shower and toilet was a godsend. Needs clean. Shower and toilet was a godsend while over on the island. Can actually do the right thing, particularly with the grey water tanks. You can save the hassle of dumping things onto the sand. You can store it in the grey water tank till you get a chance to dump it, which is great. And having the hot showers made, well, life easy because a few of the campsites we went to didn't have them. So with the few days of rain, well, I guess I'll cover off the 12 volt setup and then I'll go into one of the other headaches I had, which was with the 12 volt setup. Not a bad one, but it wasn't ideal. So anyways, this is where your 12 volt setup is in this. I've got it opened up. The bed just folds forward like you can see there. And then you take off these compartments. Lithium charger, diesel heater down there. And then your main 12 volt compartment. We've got a nice projector, DC-DC there, which does pretty decent. But one of the headaches with it, that's a 25 amp DC-DC, which is fine. But the problem is I've got the 600 watt upgrade and the 400 amp hour lithiums, as you can see down there. The 600 watt lithium is going into a 25 amp DC-DC, which can only put out, that's about 360 watt, I believe. So even accounting for the fact that you get losses when you're operating on, you'll never get the full 600 out of your solar panels, it seems a bit of a waste. So I do plan to upgrade that one. I'm actually thinking of upgrading it to a Renogy 50 amp DC-DC and solar controller. That way I can get the most out of my solar. I've taken out this bottom compartment here, so this is where the lithiums are. They're actually below the floor. They're in a metal compartment, and normally this one here is on top, and it's bolted in, as you can see with those ones there. Overall, lithiums are pretty good. Nice, easy, but the reason I've actually got this open, there's some 200 amp hours from, I found the brand the other day. I might post it in the comments because that's easier, post it in the description, but they performed fine. But this leads into probably the main headache I had. So with that DC-DC there is no Bluetooth module or controller that comes with it to tell you what's going into your batteries. And the only voltage or amp meter this model has is this little one here. which it actually only tells you what's being drawn by stuff connected to this panel, which is really hard with lithiums because you then don't know what voltage. You can tell what voltage the lithiums have, like this is the charged voltage, this is power's being put in from the charger at the moment, but that doesn't really help you with figuring out how you're going off grid. And that actually caused me some issues because we had, first couple of days, I used an induction cooker instead of the gas I've got just to test it out. I drained the batteries down quite a bit, and then we had 5-6 days of rain, as I said, and the batteries got quite discharged, but I couldn't tell if power was going in or not. And that was a real struggle for me. So, easy enough fix. I've got this one here, a Energy Shunt, which I'm going to install onto the batteries, and that way I can get an idea of what's coming through, as well as the Energy one. So I figure I'll mount all that up, and that way, between the new DC-DC, the shunt, and the Energy one, I should get a pretty good idea of what's going into the unit. Now, although I'll complain this is a fault, I'll complain that 12-volt thing is a little bit of a fault. I can tell they've learnt from it because in the newer models you can see, I've seen some on Facebook, they've actually gone to an all-energy system that has, I don't know if it's got the upgraded DC-DC, but it looks like it's got a Energy one and the battery monitor and all of that. So it looks like they have learnt from this. So if you're ordering a new one, cool, lucky you, don't have to deal with it. In my case, I'm going to upgrade that one. But other than that little tidbit with the 12-volt, honestly, super happy. Really good. Side note for anyone interested, you can fit a 27-inch monitor on there, though it gets a little bit tight with the bed. But yeah, other than that, really happy. Found while on Fraser, didn't really use the inside that much. Just really used the outside because it was easier. But yeah, she's a good trailer. Definitely holds up to the abuse, at least of Fraser, and hopefully I'll have a few more trips on her. Anyways, if anyone has any questions, let me know, and I'll try to put them in for a future video. Thank you.